Amen. We have a message today out of Genesis chapter 25. It's a story that most, if not all of you, are familiar with. Genesis chapter 25, starting in verse 29. It says there, and Jacob sawed pottage, he was cooking, and Esau came from the field and was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore his name is called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Jacob said, swear unto me this day, and he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. When you see this, it's a very simple story, but it makes you ask questions. What exactly is going on here? We understand the transaction. What's really going on here? Who's doing what to who? I mean, is someone being taken advantage of here? What's going on? The first impression you might have is like, well, Jacob is taking advantage of the situation that Esau is hungry. So he's taking this to get an unfair advantage. That's not really true. Why is that? Well, first of all, you can ask for anything. It doesn't mean that you're entitled to get it. So Esau says, give me some of that food, and Jacob says, give me your birthright. So if I want to borrow $10 from you, and you say, okay, give me your car, I'm not going to say sure. You can ask me for anything, doesn't mean you're entitled to it, but you can ask me for anything. That's what Jacob did. So what's really going on here? Well, obviously, Jacob greatly valued the birthright. Obviously, because he asked for it. And Esau obviously didn't value it very much at all. He said, well, I'm ready to die, so what good is that going to do me anyway? So he saw actually a bowl of soup or stew as more valuable to him at that particular point than the birthright. I'm sure that he was probably very hungry. But really, it's all a matter of relative value. You're not going to give away your birthright simply for this, unless it doesn't mean much to you. There were twins, but it did mean a lot. Why does it mean a lot? Because the birthright is entitled to a double portion. What does that mean? Well, essentially, if you have two boys like this, you divide it up three ways. The first one gets 2 portions, and the next one gets 1 portion. So if you have 3 boys, you divide it up 4 ways. The first one gets 2 portions, the other 2 get 1 portion each. So in this case, Esau would be getting twice as much as his brother. 2/3. Jacob gets 1/3. Even though they were twins, didn't matter. First one comes out, gets it. So Jacob was asking for it. Esau didn't see much value. What's God's perspective on all this? There's 2 interesting points. The first one I want to point out, and we'll explain it. God said at one point, he said, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. That wasn't so much from birth, but it was what they grew up into. Now, why did God hate Esau but love Jacob? Part of it has to do with this birthright issue. He put a value on what God promised him. Why is that important? It's important very, very simply because there's something in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 18. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. Now, I want to explain that in a way that will be helpful. when it talks about vision, there's actually three different sides to it. One is having a mental image. You can see something with your mind. The second one is the first one is a mental image. The second one is like having a dream. And the third one is a revelation. All of these three are not inconsequential. You know, you can see something. You can see yourself driving a Lamborghini. But it doesn't mean much. But then you have a dream of driving a Lamborghini. That's altogether different. Oh, you can see yourself in that car, but you don't really think you'll ever get it, or you can't even think about trying to get it. Then there's the dream of it. It's like, so what do I have to do to get the Lamborghini? But the most important level of vision is revelation. You can't get that unless you get into the presence of God. And God will give you a revelation. Now, when He gives you a revelation, that's what His plan for your life is. It's not a given. But it's a revelation, yes. That's God's plan. If you get with the program, that's what He'll give you. The issue isn't whether God's going to do it. The issue is whether you're prepared to pay the price to get there. That's a whole different issue. Why is that important? Where there is no vision, when there is no vision, the people perish. If you don't have a vision, you got no place to go. So what is important here is what happens to so many people today. They live today. They really don't have any long-term plans. They don't have any vision for themselves. They have no vision for themselves when they're 50. They have no vision for themselves at 65 or at 80 years old. They have no vision. It's like, you know, I'm going to get up, I'm going to work today, and on the weekend I'm going to have some fun, and that's about as much as they plan. It's just sort of an existence. And if you don't have a vision, that's all that you've got is just today. You don't build a future. You don't make your life better simply because you're living day to day. So you end up shorting yourselves with no long-term plan. It was interesting, when I was young, I enjoyed carpentry, just like my father and my brother. My father and my brother were both carpenters. I enjoyed carpentry. I worked every summer because I made good money at it. It's just that I couldn't see myself at 40 or 50 years old bending nails. This just was not my vision. I wanted to be using my head. I had a vision. Otherwise, I would have been a carpenter. It's like, this isn't going to work for me when I hit 40 or 50. It works for me fine now. But I need some challenge. I need mental challenge. So I took the time, invested the money, invested the time to go get a university education. Because I had vision. I believe God gave me that vision. The most powerful one, of course, is revelation, because that's essentially God saying it's a lock if you get with the program. We can dream for lots of things that don't happen. But revelation is the most important, and you get that by getting into the presence of God. Now we get to the second part of that. Where there is no vision, the people perish. This is maybe the most important part. Why? Because there's three things that it really addresses when it talks about perish. The fact is that the first side of it is to be exposed or naked. That is, when you have no vision, you let down your guard and everyone sees you for who you are. Which is basically nothing. Pub crawler. Like whatever. It's like, because you really don't care, you just live your life the way you feel like living it, and it's like you're just naked and exposed. There's no depth to you. The second aspect is to be, the phrase is set at naught. It's essentially to be thwarted or frustrated. That is, you can't do anything because you don't have a vision. There is no plan, so you're going to be constantly frustrated. If you have a vision for anything, or if you want to do anything, you can't do it because you're just frustrated. You perish. You don't have the vision, so you're frustrated by the fact that your situation can't change. And you can't change it because you don't have a vision. If you don't know where you're going, you can't direct yourself there. I mean, you got no place